Hello, family and friends, and welcome to another episode of Grappling with Grace, where we focus on health, hope, and healing for men, and men finding those health, hope, and healing factors in 4 different areas: mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And today with me, I have a great guest, Victor Alfredo Lopez. And Victor, I'm going to read your bio real quick before we get started, if that's okay. Victor Lopez is an internationally connected public affairs strategist and founder of Imperio Strategies. Did I say that correctly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Consulting firm advising elected officials, high-growth companies, and investor groups across the globe. Known for his ability to open doors, shape perception, and accelerate outcomes, Victor operates in the spaces where politics, capital, and community impact converge. That sounds about right.
That sounds about accurate.
What does that mean to somebody who doesn't understand what those things are, Victor? What do you do, Victor?
The question I get all the time, just because I'm always on the move and doing.
You know
stuff.
what that sounded like? So I don't know if you ever saw that movie with what's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Will Smith.
Will Smith, where he helps guys get dates, and like, what do you do? He's like, and he didn't have he's like, I'm a consultant. What does that mean? What? Hitch. Like, what does that mean? Okay, all this means to me is that you're very important, Victor, but break it down for us. What is it that you do?
Yeah, so in a very simple sense. So if you backtrack, I was just like, I'm very involved in the political scene. Okay. I was doing, we led the biggest pro-business super PAC here in like the region for the last about 5 years. And I resigned from that role earlier this year. And when I went all in on this company, I started about 4 years ago, but really just, put everything in the middle. In May. And so essentially what it is, it's a consulting and advisory firm. So essentially we advise 3 types of clients really. They're private businesses, sovereign countries, or political officials. And that's anywhere around the world. So
when a sovereign country, like what are you advising? Like how are you advising them?
Well, let's say a lot of the time it can be like investment into different areas and like facilitating like conversations and like relationships that we have all across the globe to something they'll need, right? Let's say a company really wants to, or let's say a country wants to open its doors for investment for like a data center. It's kind of like the easiest example, right? Well, you can help facilitate the companies that have been looking for land and help like kind of roll out the red carpet there. That's like kind of on a big scale, but like something smaller, for example, I've been getting really involved on the binational region here with San Diego and Tijuana, just more importantly Mexico.
Sure.
Being able to offer a hand to see if I can help out on any conversations that involve like any state or like federal law or relationships there. Obviously the political ties lets you touch every industry that you have possible. And so we try to leverage that with different needs. The very easiest way I can put it is like a lot of times I'm fixing problems. Like I'm like, my little saying right now is like, when you ask what I do, it's like, I'm the guy that you say that when you know a guy, like I'm the guy you call, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. It's like
every grown ass man that just heard that was like, oh, he's that guy. Enough said.
I mean, I'll give you a quick example. I had a guy call me. He was stuck in, about 17 hours away from Bogota over in Colombia.
Yeah.
But like, I met the guy once or twice. We had mutual friends. We both like New York pizza.
Yeah.
Dude hits me up and is like, dude, I'm stranded in Colombia. Well, what did I do? He's like, hey, long shot, I don't think you can do anything. I'm like, no, I absolutely can't. So we were calling guys at the State Department. We were calling the consul and just getting information, right? And a lot of times, like these guys will do their jobs and like you go to the departments, they'll help you out. But like when you have a direct access and you can answer questions or maybe get a little bit of a different response or a different phone number that might not be publicly posted, like just little things like that matter. And like people will call me for like the most randomest things, but then like something easy is like they'll get jammed up with like local government, like on a permit issue or whatever the case is. So it really ranges.
Out of everything you just said, the most important thing that stood out to me, Vic, was your willingness to help someone that you only met a few times.
Yeah.
That's have you always been like that?
Yeah, honestly, I think my career was pretty much started out and launched by me just showing up all the time and always kind of being down for whatever. I mean, the business, like I over time I had to learn that there's real value to that.
Sure.
And so when you advise a company or something like that, like that's when you'll charge. But like when there's people I know that kind of need a hand or whatever, man, it is like What's nice is that you could hit me with like pretty much any type of conversation or any type of issue.
Yeah.
And my mind will immediately start working and be like, who can I call?
Yeah.
Who can I call? And I have yet to discover an area where there's somebody that if I don't have that answer, there's somebody that will and can like either get the job done or find me a better answer, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So I want to talk about let's talk about how we first met.
Okay. Bring it back. Dial it back.
It must have been, what, 8 years ago? Was it?
Man, I stumbled to your gym. I think I was in high school.
Were you in high school?
Dude, I'm pretty sure I was in high school. It was either high school or first year of college.
You know what?
I took that free week.
You know what? What I remember about you as far as like when you would come in the train, then we would train together with Herman's guys and everything like that. And I remember like hadn't seen you in a while, and all of a sudden you were like, "Hey, I'm starting to work for." You were working for somebody. Like I saw you getting involved in politics.
Probably the mayor.
Yeah, the mayor. You're working for the mayor, and I was like, "Fuck, that's got to be pretty cool." And I saw you. What really got me was I'll never forget. We were at the Crunch. We were at the Crunch. We were someplace up.
I think it was Crunch. I remember.
And I'll never forget. Like your eyes like lit up when you were talking about them. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like. It's special when you see somebody talk about something, because I know nothing about politics or anything like that. But when I saw your eyes light up and you're like, I'm going to start working for the mayor. You were already working for him. And I was like, oh, in my head I go, he's going to be somebody. He's going to be something. And then every time I would see you, you're always talking about like what you were doing, like kind of follow your thing. And then when you started working for was it the Lincoln Club?
Yeah.
Like, and that was pretty big. Like you were on TV for that and everything like that. That was huge. When you were little, when you were younger, is like public service what you wanted to do? Like what was your dream when you were little, when you were a little kid?
Dude, honestly, I thought like my whole life was revolving around being a pro baseball player.
Really?
I was like literally.
How far did you make it?
I mean, I didn't get past like college. Once I tried to walk on at state, got cut there.
Okay.
Was doing like the whole private leagues and everything like that, the travel ball, and had some good looks, had some offers from some schools, but like one thing that happened to me during that time, it was, long story short, was like I just wasn't kind of getting looks, and we like had a like scout guy or whatever like push me out. Then we started getting like some like legit offers, but they were kind of like, they would be like in Iowa or whatever. Yeah. And I pretty much tell him like, you know what, dude, like I don't want to go somewhere random just to play baseball. And then so I ended up going to San Diego State. Dude, I applied to like a bunch of Ivy League schools. Yeah. And like I applied to 13 schools. Guess how many declined me?
How many?
12. And the one school I got into was San Diego State. Yeah. And that might have been because of compact, God knows. But I mean, I had a great GPA, I had the whole deal. And I got to San Diego State, and then and I kind of I stumbled into the political scene. My big sister was like doing that safari, so I kind of saw her a little bit. Yeah. And I'm like, that seems kind of cool. I suck at math, like I'll try that. And then I started really getting up to speed on government stuff, and I'm like, okay, like kind of like this stuff. And then when we needed like the internship class, I did study abroad in Spain, came back, and I saw that there was like an opportunity with the office of the former mayor, Kevin Faulkner, who's a good friend of mine, and actually now the president of the club. And he saw what he was doing, and then I reached out to the office and was able to get an internship there. And then that's like, dude, it just everything changed from there.
So what was the one deciding factor that was like that made you say or made you tell yourself, this is what I want to do? Like, what was it a situation? Was it a relationship that you had with somebody? What made you want to tell yourself, this is my calling, this is my purpose?
You know, it actually goes back to, and I'll cite this anytime. It goes back to like a very simple and deep conversation I had with my mother. I think I was probably like 15 or 16 years old at the time, and we were like fighting about something dumb, and then we really kind of got into it. And my mom didn't tell me a lot about her story until I got older, because it was pretty rough. Yeah. And
what's your mom's name?
Sylvia.
Shout out to Sylvia.
Yeah. Hey, mama. Yeah, both of them came from Mexico. My dad from Tijuana, and all the families from Culiacan, Mazatlan, and then my mom's side's from Mexico City and Guadalajara. And so the whole family kind of system was like broken on that sense, where there was a lot of cousins I didn't meet. It was just like a lot of things lost. And so my mom told me one day we were arguing, and we finally kind of got to this point of just like how all this whole thing works. And she was telling me why she is the way she is and what she expects from me. And like, it pretty much, I'll never forget, like it came down to a very simple like pool that she told me. She's like, you know, call me Alfredo. Like in this life, you do one of two things with your career. You either help people or you hurt people. And you got to figure out really quickly which pool that you're going to fall into. And like, so I very quickly, that like helped solidify it, but I very quickly learned that I did love to help people.
Yeah.
I worked at a bank teller job at Wells Fargo when I was in college. I was working my way through college, and I remember like, I mean, dude, like I would be there as I was a little bank teller. And the only reason they hired me, honestly, was probably because like, I was a white Mexican guy. Like I spoke Spanish. Dude, we were over on West Side Chula Vista, for anyone that doesn't know, over on 8th Street next to Sears, where you or rest in peace Sears.
Yeah.
You know, it was, dude, 98% of the day I was speaking Spanish. Yeah. And I remember, dude, funny little story. Like the only reason I got that job was because I had interviewed, dude, yo, check this out. I had applied to interview. I did like a group interview and everything. And like, I made it like past the last 2-3 rounds, no answer. And I just got ghosted if I was. I'm like, dude, like what happened? And so, and then I'm like, all right, no job needed. I needed some cash in my pocket. Yeah. I go over to Miguel's right here. We have Miguel's where they used to be. Yeah, they swapped it out now, right? Mexican restaurant. And like, dude, my buddy was working there and bussing. And like, I go have an interview there, bro. And I had like really long hair at the time, a little longer than this. And I roll in and like, I'm killing it. I'm like, dude, I got this, cool, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of it, the guy goes, so would you be willing to cut your hair? And I'm like, dude, what is this, the New York Yankees? And I sat there and like, I'm like, sure, yeah. Dude, I sprint out of there.
What was the job for?
Bussing tables, dude. I'm like, I'm not curing cancer here, man. Or are we the Yankees?
Yeah.
Bro, I roll out of there and I'm like, this is bullshit. And so I get in my car, I drive my ass over to Wells Fargo over on Palm by the border.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I just roll in. Yeah. Hey, I'm Victor. You guys said you're gonna hit me back. No one's hit me up for like 3 months. I've called voicemails, nothing. I'm like, can you please help me? And so the guy that like was like the recruiter or whatever, the guy that was supposed to hit me up that ghosted me, hadn't responded for months. I roll in there. The manager gets like finds out, sees my thing. Boom, I'm on the phone with the guy in 2 minutes, and he's like, "Yo, you got your final interview over on 8th Street." Yeah. So boom, fast forward, I get the job. I had a spite, and then when I was at Wells Fargo, back to the main point was. Right there, I mean, dude, we see so many customers a day, and all of them were pretty much middle, low income, right? You know, West Side Chula, a lot of people don't speak English, whole deal, right? And dude, I saw like firsthand, I mean, one, like how negligent people were with like their money and like how they really had no financial literacy whatsoever. And it was as bad as you think it'd be. Yeah. And when I started seeing that, I also was able to see like the impact of like what I was able to do by like the things that were taught at Wells Fargo about like, you know, looking at the account, like, okay, would a credit card make sense? Dude, a lot of times, sometimes there were things like I didn't feel like selling. I'm just like, okay, I'm like, dude, this person has like $10 in their account. I'm not going to push them on a credit card. Like, right. You know? But what I would do is like the best example is like the people that were paying like these stupid rents, right? Rents can be like so high. Yeah. You and I both know, right? Like, buying a house, you get that mortgage payment, usually can be significantly lower than rent, and it's yours, right? Now, do you put a cash up, blah, blah, blah. But it was something as simple as going, hey, like, did you know, like, have you ever considered buying a home? And like, oh, I know, mijo, no, I can't buy a house in San Diego. And I'm just like, well, the payment that you're paying right now doesn't really equate to what you're saying you can't afford. Right. I'm like, let me connect you with the mortgage guys. And then next thing you know, they'll come back to you and say, hey, we bought a home. Thanks to you just like flagging. So like right there, I had immediately like solidified like, okay, I like helping people, but the scale was too small. Yeah. And so I'm like, how could I have more impact? How can I make decisions that are like better and will just ultimately touch a region, a state, a country more? Yeah. And so then I like pivoted hardcore into politics. And when I did that, what really just like put it and made it concrete was when I was in the mayor's office. And dude, that was the first time in my life where like I really saw us making real decisions and me putting real input, my impact and everything. And it like literally going out into the news and becoming like a council law or whatever they could. That was the first time I saw like my actions had consequences and these were good, right? But and so my philosophy is kind of like the reason politics I got into is like, man, like everyone complains how these guys suck and everything like that, and I'm just like, and I'll complain sometimes. I'm like, well, shit, then I'll just do something about it. If it's, I'd rather have the blame be on me. Whether if something goes bad, I'd rather take the blame. If something goes good, I'd rather take the blame because then at least I know that like I'm doing my part.
One of the biggest
on that whole deal.
One of the biggest things out of that story. Is I don't know if I was watching a seminar. I must have been watching a seminar, but I heard the person giving the seminar mention something like, he asked the question to the group, and the question was, what's the one thing that separates successful people from unsuccessful people, right? Money, education, there was none of those. And the simple answer to the day was action, right? Just action. And you not getting the job, like you going to the bank, to the fucking bank, and like I can only imagine, like, hey, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, this guy, because of your actions, got the job, And I'm wondering, has that been a big part of your life? Have you seen a lot of success because you push the pace because you go out and get what you want? Have you always been like that?
I think I probably discovered that once. I think I discovered that when I probably got like well into like my political career, but like, I think we're taught like, this goes back to even sports, bro. Like you do a good job, you bust your ass off, you do all these things, and like you like people will notice, and somehow like you'll start to get the recognition and all that shit. And bro, I couldn't tell you how far from the truth that is. And even if that does happen, that's like less than 1%. I'll tell you right, dude, I have this knife I got this knife, a Big David, you're a fan.
Nice.
It's a dagger.
Okay.
And I get something every year for my birthday, and I got this one particularly because I went all in on my business.
Yeah.
And the reason I got it was just as a subtle reminder to myself that like, bro, every day, ever since I started, every business owner is gonna like jump up and down understanding this. Like every day is just like an absolute fight. It's a fight for a knife in the mud. And like that whole mentality of like waiting and this whole deal is just, for me, completely out the door, especially when you're coming from I grew up in a very like normal like life, we didn't have crazy political stuff. We didn't have, I didn't come from a trust fund, like none of that. Sure, yeah. Dude, I've been accused of being from a trust fund, which is hilarious. I literally had a guy say, you look like you're from a trust fund, right? I'm like, brother, I don't think my parents even knew what that was coming here. Like, and it has just, every day is a grind, bro. And you can't like I've do you know how many times I've had to like jam myself into rooms and like go show up at the Wells Fargo, go be that guy talking shit because dude, like nobody was gonna do it for me. And I thought I was led and taught that like, you do a good job and people will notice. And no, bro, it is an absolute finesse. More of the battle's just showing up. And then once you're competent and then do a good job, you watch the door start opening, but they're not going to open for you. You have to have that knife in your hand and you have to jam it open every day, dude. And it's like,
I 100% agree with that mindset, because there's so many people that are very capable, but are not willing to do the work or the extra work that it takes to just get your thumb in the door, your finger in the door, and then push that motherfucker open. And they're waiting for something else to happen. I 100%.
This life will kick you to the ground and keep you there, bro. Here's a well, I can mention it later, but man, just one thing that I always kind of noticed too was just like the guys that were like loud and the guys that were there, even if it's like kind of like bitching in a sense, like in a boardroom or whatever, like dude, like those guys that were pushing the narrative, like they were always the ones that kind of like found a way to get their way. And like once you figure that out, like, and the truth is too is like one thing is energy.
Sure.
Like motivation, all that shit runs out, dude. Like having like that survival and like that need to like want to do more. It's it is hard. It's hard to go hunt when you have a full belly, right?
Sure.
So there's like the different perspectives. But when you're on that hunt, bro, I mean, there's nothing else matters and you get tunnel vision and like, but if you wait like for a government to help you out or whatever, I mean, no one's coming, dude. Yeah. No one's coming.
Yeah, people need to understand that right away. We're gonna jump right into these questions for you, Victor. So, Victor, you operate in high level political business rooms. What have those environments taught you about the kind of man you have to become internally before you can influence anything externally? Let me say that again. You operate in high-level political and business rooms. What have those environments, high-level political and business, what have those environments taught you about the kind of man you have to become internally before you can influence anything externally?
It's like two main things. The first one that comes to me instinctively is like the will to act, right? Like I've just been in too many rooms where people will want to do things, they'll complain and look at the dynamic, and then it's like, okay, so why aren't we doing anything about this? Like, why hasn't this been done yet? Dude, like half of my success in my career has just been like literally just me asking questions on like, why hasn't this moved before? Like, what is holding it up? Are you the issue? And you kind of just start like asking these things. And being able to go do something about it. Most people aren't, or like they might not see the vision for it. So I would say instinctively, the first thing is just like being willing to do something about it. Can be like far and few. And then when you go in a room with those good guys, you can really get a lot done. And then the second thing I'd say is that, I've had many opportunities where I think I could have taken, like an easier route, or maybe even like something like considered like borderline unethical. And like, bro, I have just like, when you work in politics, you see the good, the ugly, and the bad, and a lot of the bad. And once I started seeing like how power flowed and how decisions were made, you know, there was just many ways to exploit that. I mean, you'll see news headlines all the times of people that do that and stuff. But
let's unpack that real quick. Let's start right there. So what did it take internally for you to? Because I'm assuming as long as you've been in, you've seen, like you said, the good, the bad, and the horrendous, right? What did that take internally for you to see maybe there was an opportunity, maybe there was something for you to maybe push those boundaries or overstep those boundaries? What was it inside of you that was like, that told you like, I'm not doing that? Like, what was your marker that's, because I mean, we obviously see that all the time. All of you turn the news right now, we'll see some politician, somebody working in downtown. What was it for you that stopped you? What was that internal mindset that stopped you? Was it something your mom said? Are you like, what is that?
Honestly, yeah, I think I just dude, my mom had me reading like ethics textbooks and like exams in her office. I grew up like cold calling since I was like 4.
Okay.
She has a small business, and like, I mean, my mom always just told me, it's just like never lose your integrity. Her words are never lose your integrity. Yeah. And so like anytime I've ever made a decision, like every time I make a decision, I do it making sure that I'm not purposefully like harming anybody in any way for like from a malicious intent, right? Yeah. Sometimes you make decisions, people get affected positively and negatively. Sure. That's just business, that's just life.
Yeah.
But overall though, like there's the easy thing to do, and then there's a right thing to do, and like just that little radar is just kind of something that got instilled at me since I was super young. And what I've learned too over time, especially, dude, I'm like, my whole thing is like I'm always kind of the kid in the room.
Sure.
Dude, like
is that hard to overcome? Is that hard to overcome?
I'll cover that. Yeah, yes, but like more importantly, like and we'll unpack. That's a huge combo. You know, I think, dude, I've seen it and I felt it. Like a lot of people will see me.
Yeah.
And it's like for me, I'm like raw oil to them.
Let me say something real quick. Look, so if you come into the room and you're fucking good looking, you look white, right, and you're fucking young, I'm gonna tell you, every other guy's like, fuck this guy right here, fuck this guy, and then they see your car or whatever, right? That's like, you have to eat that, right? That's like every guy. I'm not lying, like, right? I'm not hating, but like, look, that shit happens to me. It's like I'll walk into like a room with fighters, whatever, and I'm like, nothing, but the way I look, people are like, fuck this guy. You don't even know me. But I can see that you're so good looking, right? You come in and then you start opening your mouth, they start talking, and this guy's smart. Like, I'm gonna tell you, most of the guys, that's probably like an insecurity thing that you're dealing with those other guys, right?
It's double edged. It's double edged when they both cut.
He's like, it's a blessing and a curse. Right?
Well, dude, like being, you know, I go down Tijuana, bro. You already know. I go down, they go, oh, like, el güero, Simón, you know, they're starting to speak Spanish, and then the last thing they expect is me looking like a John Smith from Iowa to roll in and start saying, hey, come there, oye, me echas un café. You know, you start hitting them with Spanish, and they like, yes, like being it is a unique position, being like just fully Mexican, being in the U.S. And like the truth is, bro, like you get there's like white privilege associated with that, 100%. And like people, I think it's, you know what, dude, I don't blame people for instinctively having like some sort of like prejudgment or whatever. I think it's human instinct. If I'm rolling down the street with a knife in my hand, you probably might not think I'm a safe guy, right? Or if I'm looking with the hood and all that, or if I'm wearing a suit with a briefcase, your threat level is probably really low, and you understand that better than anybody
100%.
On what a fight or flight or just a detection of what a threat is. But so the one side is, like, it's cool that you get to kind of maneuver and like be unique in that sense. But yeah, I mean, dude, like the other side of it is because you're young. Like, dude, I feel like people will like look at me like raw oil or something, that like they'll always try to like refine me and like maybe and like try to tell me how they do it. And then like the others, like the kind of the hidden trait beneath that is like they'll think I'm easily manipulatable. And dude, do you know how many times I will play dumb?
That's the game, right? The game is the game is you don't want to offend. You're listening. I want to make this person feel
okay, they're some for sure. Wisdom,
and then you move.
And dude, like, I mean, the moves that I would make, man, like we'd handle just different problems, and you'd never know I was involved. And I always like to keep it that way. But yeah, I mean, there's an inevitable brand associated with it. And man, like you do, like the car and all that shit. Yeah, man. I mean, like, bro, you know what I would do? I wouldn't even park my when I went to my board meetings and I got that last one I'm driving, bro. I would like get there early, park like in the back, and then I leave late because I already knew the shit that they were gonna say.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh well, how's he doing this? And I'm just like, you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about me.
But a lot of people were inevitably worried about what I'm up to.
Sure.
And so that, dude, I've always just had to learn like everything has like this perception and conversations, and the amount of rumors and things that would get back to me of like shit about me. It was, dude, for me, it just early on it would freak me out,
right?
And then it just became a game. I'm like, oh, what's the new one now? Yeah. Oh, I did what now? Oh, really? Damn, I've never been there, but for sure, I'll take that. You know, like whatever. It's pretty gnarly.
It happens to me a lot when I go speak someplace, or I was awarded. I got an award from a nonprofit that they have a secret mansion in Coronado.
Okay, nice.
And so I got to me and my girlfriend at the time, we get there, and they're like, and I was like, oh, Elias Gallegos. They're like, are you sure you belong? Like, they didn't.
Are you the security guys?
They were like, are you? They didn't say, are you sure you belong? But the look, right? And then I understood why. It's a secret mansion, right? Like I didn't even know they have these things in Coronado, right?
Yeah.
And so we go inside, and I walk into this kind of small ballroom, and I'm getting an award, right? And I walk in, and the only other people getting awards are 75-year-old white men and white ladies. Like they're all. So I was the only other dark people were the ones serving, right? So I walk in, and everybody's head. Right, because I forget the way I look. Like in my
it's your normal.
I'm a little kid. I like to have fun, you know. But I walk in, and sometimes I forget, you know. And so they just right, and I know for a second they thought they were gonna get robbed, you know. And then
sure.
And then the girls come and hug me, and then they took me to the side. And then when I went up there, man, I was like the talk of the town afterwards. When I was done, when the banquet was over, they all rushed to me, like wanted to hear my story. So
for sure.
I completely understand what you're saying in the sense that like there's going to be these preconceived notions, but it's up to us to break that barrier, like to 100%, you know. So, but it's funny. But when you were giving that story, I was like, yeah, I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Bro, I know what it's, you know, it's like the galas are the best examples. It's like, dude, you're like rolling in this room with like a predominantly whatever race or whatever, right? And like, you know, I'm like that guy, like, and people like commend me for it, but for me, it's just fucking normal.
I'm
like,
so proud of you,
bro. I'm just like you'll be saying what's up to like a billionaire. Hey, what's up? How are you, John? Blah blah blah. And then I'm just like here talking shit with the mesero. Just talking. I'm like, hey, bro. Hey, and I'm always speaking Spanish. Like, hey, bro. Hey, you give me a little shot, bro. Hey. He's like, oh, I got you. He's like, you speak Spanish? I'm like, yeah. And it's just like, bro, like that was the thing my dad taught me, right? It's like, bro, it doesn't matter if you're the guy busting the tables or you're the guy paying for the whole damn event, 100%. Right? Like everybody, and I think that might just maybe it's a Mexican thing.
Sure.
But bro, it was just how it was like you treat everybody
100%
with respect. You see the guys clean. Hey, ¿qué onda, jefe? Hey, boss, how are you? Blah,
you never
blah,
know. Well, we're just talking about it with our Tim, right? You never know where that person's going to be in 10 years.
Great story.
Like we're talking about our friend, our Tim, who when I started working at the boxing club years ago, he was literally the cleaner. Fast forward 20 years later, he's the owner of I don't know how many boxing clubs they had before they sold and all this stuff. Like that's the great, and he came from Russia during
huge.
That's like you never American know who somebody's. But just at the end of the day, you want to give anybody you meet, just the common respect that humans deserve, you know, and that's the most important thing. I think we forget that, especially when we see people that don't look like us or don't dress like us or don't talk like us, or even nowadays don't believe what you believe, you know. What habits or mindsets have helped you stay grounded mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and physically when the stakes are high? So what habits or mindset have helped you stay grounded when the stakes are high? I think we kind of talked about it already, but I want to hear if you can focus any more on that.
You know, I think a big way of how I move now is I've had some pretty big like close calls.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like I had like a crazy car crash in 21. I've had like some personal life events that like have really like given me perspective on everything. And like honestly, when you kind of, especially if you're like almost dying in a car crash, like dude, to be honest, is like I've always had like this little like inner thing of like I've always felt like every day I got cheated one more day out of it. And but like connecting that to like the business and just like a mix of personal and business, like when you go through just a bunch of tough shit, man, like honestly it's just kind of hard to like, it's hard to be phased anymore. And like, thank God, like I haven't had like, much more, but life will come and take its hits. And I remember like when I personally, man, I'm pretty sure, like I reached rock bottom like in 2024 personally, right? Everything, business, all good, whatever. Instagram.
So now that let's talk about that real quick. We don't have to unpack so much stuff, but that's like what the purpose of the podcast and my ministry and nonprofit is for. You can see a guy pull up in the Mercedes, making the money, but at home, no relationship with his wife, internally, mentally, emotionally, is ready to just, so I'll share it. About a year ago, I tried to commit suicide about a year ago. That's how bad it was for me about a year ago. And the gym was doing well, everything's going great, but emotionally, mentally, I was below rock. I don't know what's below rock bottom, but I was there. So let's talk about that. What you're successful on the outside and you're dealing with these emotional issues. That's high stake life, or those are high stakes that you're dealing with. How did you crawl out of that? How did you fix that?
I think you'll appreciate these too. Bro, when everything just started kind of going south, like I went into I resorted to two things, and you can go a lot of different routes, right? Some more unhealthier than others, right?
Of course, 100%.
Bro, it was one, I rolled back into the church, back into the faith.
Nice.
And then second, I went back into fighting.
Nice, good.
I went back into fighting.
There's something that like at this point in my life, like when I meet, I don't really have a lot of friends. I don't have any friends at all. Like I have a lot of acquaintances. I don't have a lot of friends, right? But when I meet a guy or whatever, like one of the first things I want to ask him is like, hey, do you train? Mm-hmm. Like what do you do physically? Like, and if the guy's not training, if he's never been, I guess for me, my own, not to say this is biblical or anything like that, right? Because I'm a pastor also, so I always have to separate myself. Like I'm not preaching, right? But for me, I can't have anybody on my team and when I mean my team, like in my social circle, like if you've never been punched in the mouth, like that's a different thing, right? Yeah. Like if you are over the age of 30 and you've never been punched in the mouth before, that's just a little thing that I have, right? Yeah. So I already hear you saying you went back to church, so emotionally and spiritually, right? And then you went back to train mentally and physically. Those are the four categories that I help men grow in. So how did I know how, but personally, what did those two factors, training and going back to faith, how did they elevate you? How did they pull you out of that like miry clay? How did that happen?
I'll start with the fighting one. Dude, like, and this is like kind of dark or whatever, but like, I remember like a big thing, like, dude, I'm very like about accountability and like, how could I have done better? Yeah. Where could I have fixed this? How could I have just not fucked up?
Yeah.
And I would go into one, like it was two reasons I went back into fighting. Like one, like it was like the only outlet that like I could go into where like my phone wasn't nearby me.
Sure. Yeah.
And like all your focus for this next hour and a half or whatever is like surviving, right? Yeah. Whether it's a boxing spar, an MMA spar, a choke, right? Like whatever the case is. It was like the only thing aside from probably surfing that like I could be focused and I could not be on my phone and like my focus was only survival.
Yeah.
But then like the second part of it, honestly, man, like I went into fighting because, bro, like I kind of went into like punish myself a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I would roll in, bro. I'd wake up. Yeah. I'd feel like I had ripping anxiety. Never had anxiety like crazy like that before. And I would just like, I'd wake up and be like, dude, I feel like fucking getting punched in the face. Yeah. I feel like I would like seek that pain. Yeah. And it was like a good pain. And it like, and dude, I started sparring 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And just absolutely demolish myself.
Can I ask you, because for me.
And gave me this weird, I don't know.
For me, when I dealt with that as well, it was my tattoos and it was also getting beat up, like doing Muay Thai, right?
Trauma. It's trauma.
Yeah. For me, it was, but for me, when I was doing that pain, getting like tattoos and then letting somebody knee me in the face or like actually putting my hand down on purpose and for me, that was so I wouldn't have to deal with the pain that I was going through, right? So was that similar for you, or were you just like because you said you made that statement, punish myself, right? And I know that
I preferred that pain over what I was dealing with.
A lot of men, we deal with that, right? We deal with like not being able to sit in the pain that maybe God is allowing us to go through, and so thankfully you found an outlet that was beneficial, right? At least you're there's a couple of things that you learn when you're in an MMA setting or in a combat sports setting where now you have to be present, right? Because if you're not present, like if you're thinking about something else, the punch is going to hit you.
Yeah,
right?
you're about to get hit.
You have to be present. And one thing that men that are dealing with any type of issue, or just people in general, is that nobody wants to be present in their pain, right? And so you found those outlets. Thank God it wasn't, I found drugs and partying, I try to find every outlet, right? Just so I wouldn't feel the pain that I was going through internally because of the trauma that I had. So that starts happening to you. When do you start dealing with, because you had, and you don't have to talk about exactly what the thing that you were dealing with is, but when did you start addressing the internal pain that you were going through, the internal trauma that you were going through? That was
the second, it's a body head, right?
Oh, yeah.
The head punch was definitely the faith. The only thing that like finally kind of started calming down the anxiety, dude, I'd go roll over to like Eastlake Church by myself every Sunday. I didn't wait for anybody, and I'd like just go sit by myself and just go watch, and like started just like reconvening with like my faith. And it's something I wanted to pursue since the car crash, to be honest, but that was the first time I actually was like really took it seriously. And that was, and I just prayed, bro. I just prayed and like hoped things would work out, and trying to understand the lessons and the whole deal. And like, dude, to be honest though, like it sucks because like you just wish you really never got there in the first place. Sure. And like it's, you still have to deal with all that stuff. And I think a lot of it too is also like accepting like where I was at and like what could happen, what might not happen, and trying to understand like what God was trying to do there. And, I wanted to highlight that point that you said about like you could do the drugs, the booze and all that stuff, or like the fighting. I did start doing therapy about like a year and a half or two ago.
Nice.
And it's extremely pivotal. And what I learned was like that what you highlighted, what we do is like that escape, like it's human nature to like try to escape any type of pain. Yeah. And so like when people do things, when people get in a breakup and they start posting on the store or whatever the case is, right? Like your body will naturally find whatever it can to do to help like amend that pain. And so when you're like not in yourself, like you obviously know why, but it's like just kind of human instinct too of like seeking it's survival. That is your body going to the booze and all that stuff. That's actually survival mode for us. And a lot of people kind of might not know that. So it's like give yourself a little grace, but at the same time, like try to find a better outlet.
Yeah, 100%.
And luckily I just never had the interest like for any of those things. But like the fighting and stuff, that was my little getaway. That was my survival, just letting me like feel that pain, bro. And like I can actually understand like why people would do those things or do the tats. Like my buddy Quest, he's like all tatted up, and he told me his story, and like, yeah, bro, it's the same thing. You seek like this escape from like whatever the hell you're dealing with. It's no walk in the park, man.
I was in so much pain that I was like, what are the parts on the body that hurt the most, right? So like right above the stomach, the neck, the face, the back, and I was like, let's just do it, And I'm glad for both of us that we're either past that or we're well on our way to healing,
Yeah, it's just every day is its own battle, man.
100%.
But at least I think when you go through that stuff, I think it just maybe better equips you for what's next. And I think it's easy to forget that like those tough times, bro, at some point like they will fucking pass. Yeah. Like the last necklace I had when I was really down bad was a sun. And the reason I had the sun was because it was like that saying, like, it doesn't matter what the fuck is going on out in real life. Yeah. Like this world will not wait for you. And so no matter how down bad you get, guess what? The sun's still gonna rise the next day. Yeah. It's not waiting for anybody, bro. So like you'll be down and stuff like that. The only problem when you're down, I believe, is like when you don't plan on getting back up.
Sure. Yeah. And that's where you can get into. That's where I found myself about a year ago, when you think the pain is so much, right? When you have the wrong circle of friends, when you are not willing to look in the mirror. I believe one of the hardest things a man will ever do is sit in front of the mirror and examine himself. Right? Like the law of reflection, like, okay, was this breakup my fault or her fault? Whose fault was it? Oh shit, wait a minute. I did, like, when you have to look in the mirror, and I think that's why so many men, I used to have this badge of honor. I'm just so tired. I'm so tired, right? And, I got the nonprofit, I got the gym and pastoring. I'm so tired. I'm working too much, right? And I'll never forget when I realized, you know, you hear people say this a lot, like, I'm just juggling life. You know, I'm just juggling life. I'm juggling all these things. And then my mentor said, hey, you got to stop juggling life because, you know, you can juggle 5 balls, but when you throw that 6th ball there that you can't do, that one doesn't fall. They all fall, you know? And he goes, this is what's happened to your life. Everything is falling. You have to learn how to prioritize. And
100%.
when I started learning how to prioritize instead of juggling, then I learned I had to force myself to learn how to say no. Because the reason I asked you about how like you're so willing to help that guy that you just met, and I was thinking, I wonder if you've ever had a problem saying no to people sometimes. Like, how did you go? Because we're very similar in that fashion where somebody will come and call me through the nonprofit. Hey, we need this. Okay. And I used to break myself, right? I used to break myself to help somebody. And then you realize, wait a minute, I want to help you more than you want to help yourself. And then I realized, wait a minute, we only have a lot of, you know, most people will say the most important commodity that they have is their time. My time is the most important thing.
Yeah.
My contention, I would say, is it's really your energy, because we all have 24 hours a day. And I would use this analogy, like if I have a class of 30 people, they all get my hour.
Yeah.
But this person over here might get more of my time because they didn't understand it. This person over here is going to compete, so I'm going to give them more of my time to prepare them more. Everybody got my hour, but different people got more of my time, you know?
100%.
And when you realize that you give, or for me,
Got more of your energy.
My energy, yes. When you realize when I was giving my energy away, and I was like, wait, that's why I'm so tired, because I'm giving my energy away to people that don't deserve it, that don't understand it, are not willing to accept it. And now what I say my priorities are, you know, at the time, my family, my wife, and things like that. No wonder this is in shambles. It's because of that. So, did you have a hard time with like learning how to say no to people?
To this day, bro.
Yeah. Good.
Bro, you'll get put on the board of this, chair of this, and like bro, when I first got in, when I was starting my career, bro, I was going to everything. Bro, now like you want to catch me at a political fundraiser or a mixer, good luck. And I'm in a mode right now where it's like business mode, like bro. Like, this is the first time in my life, like, you know how people say, oh, I'm busy and all this shit? Everyone's busy.
Everybody's busy.
Okay. But, like, for me personally, like, this is the first time where, bro, like, I, like, just generally, like, I don't give a shit about anything else except, like, I'll make time for my family when we're in San Diego. And I'm just, like, working on the business because I'm in an age in my life where I can do that. No wife, no kids, right? Like, no other, like, crazy commitment. Yeah. That stuff is huge. So I'm, like, taking advantage of that runway. But because I'm focusing on that and trying to like build that wealth, like I've had to say no to some of the other free shit, not because I don't want to, but like because I like the priorities have shifted. Yeah. And it's waves of lives too, right? Like James Grogan is dude, that's my guy. Like Pastor James from Eastlake. You know, there's the seasons of life too, and like sometimes you have it all figured out, sometimes like you don't, right? And like but. People
sometimes that's data.
If you offer it, bro, if you're down, people will take it. Like, if anything for free too, free help, bro. Watch how many boards and committees you get put on, or whatever the case. But I mean, I did limit it, right? I think maybe like 1 or 2 things that you personally care about. But at the end of the day, too, like loyalty is huge for me. You know, if somebody calls, like I'm always like I'll show up. You know, if somebody like really needs something. So, but you just kind of weigh it out too. But like I just I think it is easy to forget. I think it's easy to forget, like, when you're in your own world, like, maybe sometimes kind of the people that, like, kind of helped you out and stuff like that in those downtimes. So, like, I'm currently, like, consciously trying to keep myself in check of, like, you know, making sure, I'm in my business, don't get too up here, right? But then also, like, don't also let the local things, like, limit you from what you know can be, right? So that's, like, actually, like, a personal dance I have right now of, like San Diego is my home, but bro, like there's just not. I've seen too much now where it's like I know that there's other movement. There's things that are bigger and on a macro scale.
You were talking about like you're on a plane almost or you're all over the place. Like that's being busy. Like, that's busy. That's busy.
Yeah, it's just trying to balance that out. It's just it's no walk in the park, but that's different phases of life are gonna ask for different things for you. I mean, you got people who have kids and stuff like that making it happen. I mean, dude, that's I can't imagine how hard that must be.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Politics and public affairs can be ruthless. How do you protect your mental and emotional health in spaces where pressure, conflict, and noise are constant? So politics and public affairs can be ruthless. How do you protect your mental and emotional health in spaces where pressure, conflict, and noise are constant?
Here's one that my therapist taught me, and just I learned over time. But like, dude, a lot of things is like blame and accountability. because of I'm not scared to say like what my political views are on anything, right? And when you have a platform that's public like mine, all of a sudden, right? You're Coach Elias, right? The jiu-jitsu guy, right?
Yeah.
So if people you haven't seen in a while, what are they probably gonna talk to you about? Fighting and jiu-jitsu and hey, dude, I did this. Well, I get the other end of that. I get I'm like a political punching bag. So bro, people will be like, did you see this bullshit? This is bullshit, dude. Like, and I'm the guy. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to have a beer. Like I don't. Like I wasn't in the. I didn't make that call.
So here, let's talk about this because
you disconnect.
I'm very so. You know, there's like 6 other places in Eastlake that have. There's 6 other gyms in Eastlake, right? And for me, here's my philosophy is this. I look at the corner where there's a Burger King, McDonald's, and Jack in the Box, and Wendy's, whatever. Wendy's is not worried about the Whopper with cheese, and they do their own thing. They focus on them. So for me, I don't care about. As a matter of fact, I train with Professor Herman every Monday, Wednesday. I go train with Professor Herman. You know, like I believe that I teach in such a manner, in such a way, and everybody does that. I have my niche, and it's self-defense. It's the law enforcement community. It's the over 35 crowd. The guys don't want to compete, but and it's mental health thing because of my nonprofit. You know, and so when we're talking about like training and doing things like that, I feel like for me, the people that I'm looking for, I kind of. We're just going to jump around a second, but the people that I'm looking for, I want it to be like a specific type of person, right? So when we're talking about like the Instagram stuff, if you go to the 5 Instagrams from all the gyms, right, you'll see Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, maybe some competition. But if you go to my Instagram from the gym, like you're gonna see my political views on Instagram. You're gonna see that like, oh, this guy likes Nick Fuentes. Like you're gonna see shit like that on my page, right? And then you're gonna see how I feel about certain topics. You're gonna see me dancing, like because I'm a dancer, right? And so I do that for a number of reasons. I want people. First of all, I want to stand out, right? Like if you just go to any other page, you're like, oh, what's the difference, right? Secondly, when people come to the gym and I ask them, hey, how did you hear about us? It's one of the first questions. Oh, I follow you on Instagram. Oh, you follow me. Like you're going to sign up because you love everything about like what I believe in, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Like if you didn't, you wouldn't even have shown up, you know? So I use that. But I've taken a lot of backlash on, and to me, I don't care. Like I'll listen to, like I have mentors in every area of my life. I have a mentor in every area. So I will listen to my mentors. But, you know, as you start to get to a little type of a platform, you know, there's always going to be criticism, you know.
100%.
And so I can't even imagine what you go through, right? But you know, I get guys that call me, why do you put stuff about, you know, your church on Instagram or on your gym page? Or why'd you put, like when Trump got shot, the first time they tried to assassinate him, I was like, and he got up like that. He had the blood, right? And I made a gi.
I think I saw that, dude.
I made a gi, and I sold that motherfucker all over the United States. I sold, right? And I was like, look. At that point, I was really heavily a Trump supporter at that time.
Sure.
You know? I believed in what he was saying, you know. And people are like, what are you doing? And I had a couple of people leave the gym for that, you know. But look, when I'm training, it's all about jiu-jitsu and I'm taking care of my students. Like I'm never going to be like the person that's like, hey, you need to go to church or you need to. I don't do that. I don't do that, right? But I want to have a place where you can come to the gym and feel safe talking about whatever you want. Like, because for me, the gym is more than just learning how to fight. It's a very minimal thing that I teach as people learn how to fight. I teach like self-mastery, you know, like I should be able, like, I don't care what you believe, we should be able to sit down and talk and figure it out. Like let's meet at like New York Pizza, right? I don't care where you are on the spectrum, what you believe. You know, one of my my business mentors is actually a Muslim, right? And like, okay, we'll meet at jiu-jitsu and we'll meet at business. Maybe we don't have to meet at faith, but like me, I want a place like that. I want a place where you can just come and talk. But I think the problem nowadays, one of the biggest issues I see in society is nobody's willing to sit down and just talk. And nobody's willing to sit down and just talk. And they're willing to judge and have these preconceived notions about you. But nobody's willing to sit down. So we're going to jump around, but how does that get remedied? Like, because I can only imagine when you are dealing in that political realm, when you're trying to work something out with somebody across the aisle or somebody who doesn't believe you.
all the time.
I cannot like how do you,
bro? I'll advise people I spend money against.
Yeah, how do you find that, or do you ever find that like common denominator, like common ground? Well, okay, we can meet here. Let's move here. How hard is that?
It's extremely hard. It's extremely hard, and especially in a place like the U.S. where like, you know, unfortunately, media assets make hundreds of millions of dollars based off of a polarization. Even like the algorithms on TikTok and Instagram benefit off of controversy because it feeds the algo more. You get more people pissed off talking shit in the comments. If there's one thing I'd say to, as somebody that knows how the game works at the highest levels, from the Foxes and the CNNs and whatnot, and has spent plenty of time on TV and in many different political circles, if there's one thing I could tell you and I tell the public is that it makes sense for a bunch of other assets to polarize and divide communities. And at the end of the day, Democrats, Republicans, all these guys, everybody's trying to actually do the right thing, but they just have very fundamental different philosophies on how to get there. I think over 98%, 99% of people want to like make the world a better place. There is still malicious activity out there no matter what you do. But I think when people can understand that, like, we have so much, I've said this before, we have so much more in common than what you think.
Sure.
And it's, at the end of the day, it's just branding. And most people, when you show the right information in front of them, they actually can come to a pretty good consensus.
Sure.
And I've seen it, man. And whether you're literally or figuratively translating what you're trying to say so people can understand, you'll actually come to a pretty good accord. But the problem is that like people, a lot of times they're not even open to conversation from the beginning.
Right.
They're like, when people go up to me, they're not here to ask me about my opinion on this so they can have a productive discussion. Most of the time, they're going up to me so I can tell them something that they probably don't want to hear.
Right.
And then they can just like talk shit and condemn me for it. And you know what, dude? I'll never blame anybody for like kind of like what they'll say or do to me, because like, bro, it's not about me.
Sure.
It's not about me.
Yeah,
it's about what's happening, and like you happen to be that person in front of them that is that outlet, whether it's that or it's like when you're like a service worker.
Yeah.
They're having a bad day, they rip the waiter, right? It's not, the waiter might have fucked up and done something random, but like the whole blow up is probably because his like ex-girlfriend called him a piece of shit and doesn't want to work with him. And so what people have to learn how to like disconnect from that. And dude, all those guys, man, like what you see out there, and it's hard, right? People want to have like active discussions with me, and I'll tell them, I'm like, dude, like you don't want to talk, you don't want to like argue with me because like I know too much.
Right, yeah.
Like you only know what you know because hundreds of millions of dollars have been strategically spent and placed so you can think exactly what you're projecting to me right now. You only know what you saw
in the 10-second clip on TikTok or
Here's how I see it, brother. I think a lot of people see the world like this, and when you work in the game so long, you see it all. You see where the cup is made, you see who owns it, why is it this way, why is it color. You start seeing everything, bro. I see things 10,000 feet up, and it's hard to relate to people on like just a general public stance, because they only know what they know. But I don't blame them. I don't blame them for wanting to, if they don't like Trump, you know what, I don't blame them, because I'm sure there's a bunch of assets in media that push it that way, and some of it will be true, some of it might not. Same thing vice versa. Guys that don't like Trump, like they're gonna feel like that for a certain way because of like this macro effort that has been pushed in front of like this world, honestly.
I hate that it comes to that. Like I've never seen, so I'll take that like a step further, just kind of like in the spiritual realm, when you get these guys, like I'll go to Balboa Park often, and on the weekends they have like these little booths, like the atheists will have a booth, the Muslims will have a booth, the Christians will have a booth, and it's like you go and debate, like, and I'm like, from a Christian perspective, I've never seen anybody debated into the kingdom. But I have seen conversations where people will talk, and if it's a real conversation, that can change somebody's life. But a debate, like if I'm showing up to debate, it's because I want to prove you wrong, and you're going to prove me wrong, you know. And when this a while ago, when Charlie was assassinated, I saw a lot of things on Instagram, like people were happy and they were jumping up and down. You know, and there were some people that I personally knew. So I made a post and I said, hey, I would like to El Pollo Girl, shout out to El Pollo Girl because
Me tocayo.
yeah, he oh really?
Victor Lopez.
Bro, so check this. Oh, yeah, that's right. So, so Vic found out what I wanted to do, and he called me. So this is what I did. I made a post. I said, "Hey, man," I go, what happened is horrible, but if you are a person that's really happy that this man was murdered, I would like to buy you lunch, and I would just want to have a conversation. Like I want to hear, because in my heart, in my mind, I was like, what causes a person to be happy at a father's death, right?
Yeah.
And so I made this post, and it went really viral. I didn't think it was going to, but it went viral. And I initially had 5 people that were going to come. At the end of the day, I had one lady who showed up, right? And she kind of grew up in church, but is not actively involved in church. Mm-hmm. Her daughter lives an alternative lifestyle. And, we sat down. And at the end of the conversation, she was like, I didn't think you were going to be like this. Like, she goes, wow. Like, I was like, we have, like, you alluded to this earlier. You said, we have so much more in common, and then she shared a lot of the things that she believed was because of trauma, because of hurt.
Sure.
Yeah. And she really wasn't happy that he was right. It's all these things, but that wouldn't have happened if you're on Facebook or social media, like arguing or wanting to debate. That conversation, and it's a friend. Now I have a friendship with this lady.
Yeah.
But because it was a real, actual conversation, and she realized I wanted to generally know what she thought and why she thought the way that she did.
Yeah.
But those things are hard to do. Having those conversations are hard because some people aren't ready for that. Some people aren't ready for that conversation.
They're not ready for the conversations, and a lot of people don't want to. I think a lot of people sometimes don't even want to find that middle ground.
Yeah.
There's unfortunately, like, as much as good as there is in the world, there's a lot of hate in it too. And I just, like, when I have these conversations, I just quickly identify, like, if somebody's here for a fight or if they're there for, like, a conversation,
Yeah.
right? And once I understand that, I can just kind of quickly, most of the time, bro, like, I walk away. It's like you know what it is? The best analogy is like a fight, right? When you know you can fuck someone up.
Yeah.
Are you really gonna engage with this asshole that's just chirping you?
Yeah, no.
No, there's no. What's the point? There's no need.
As you talk about that, it's funny because my background has been on TV and everything. Like, I was a bodyguard and kidnapper before I got saved. For the guys over there in Tijuana, and I've seen it all, right, and done it all. And so, like, when guys, especially fighters or like younger guys, want to get all tough, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, like, you're not tough. Like, I've seen guys, I completely understand what you're saying, and it's like I am the way that I am. I think, like, I'm very happy. I dress kind of fucking weird. Like, people, like, sometimes, like, oh, you look gay. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? Like, first of all, you can't beat me up because, like, right? Like, that's the cool thing about it. Like, but, like, it's this weird thing, like, what are you on the, like, I got this thing, like, I took this test that says I'm on the spectrum. Like, that makes a lot of sense in the way I dress and the way I act, right?
Well, they got tests for everything nowadays, man. We all got something.
We all got something, right? My brother says we all got something, but it's funny because the way that I act, and I'm like you said, you said this statement that, like, you feel like every day you cheated death, right? And that's how I feel, like, being able to escape that life. And I'm happy, man. Like, I'm happy. And when you get these other guys that think they're tough and want to fight, and I'm like, bro, like, you know what? Yeah, you could beat me up, man. Let me buy you a drink. Like, I don't want nothing. Like, you don't want to see that guy. Like, that guy I thought was completely gone, but he's still there inside of me because he's come out a few times, And,
yeah. If
you know what I mean?
Dude, what happened to me is, like, it happened to me the other day. I bought this kid a drink. I'm at Lafayette.
Yeah.
It's like stupidly packed. I'm waiting for my drink.
Always packed.
This tall ass dude rolls in and, like, shoves me out of the way to get a fucking drink. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. I'm chill, but, bro, I don't take shit, right?
Yeah.
And I just go. I'm just like, yo, like, there's a line, man. Do you mind waiting right there? Nah, man, we're all gonna get a drink. Don't worry about it. I'm like, you're absolutely right. But I was here before you, so I'm gonna get my drink and make sure I'm getting it before you.
Yeah.
And then the guy just kind of backed off, and then he just, like, he went off, and he knew I wasn't fucking around.
He's probably not used to somebody checking him back.
Yeah, and dude, I didn't have to curse at him. Sure. I didn't have to do anything. And then I just go, I'm like, hey, dude, honestly, dude, like, listen, I get it. I'm not trying to be a dick, but, like, and I made a joke about the bar. I'm like, dude, these guys take like 5 business days to get a cocktail. Yeah. And then the guy's like, no, yeah, man, all good. And then we start hanging out. Bro, a kid happens to be from East. Like, next thing I know, I'm buying him a cocktail. But dude, like, that fuse, right? Like, bro, I'll get heated for like 5 to 10 seconds. And then like common sense kind of kicks back in.
Yeah.
So it's something, you know, sometimes
you have to be careful.
Sometimes you got to do something too sometimes, you know?
You do. And that's why, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but sometimes when we go out still, we'll go out someplace and I have to come, I don't feel comfortable being out too long because we'll be in a place. And my girlfriend, she's my fiance. Now my fiance grew up very sheltered and she doesn't understand. We'll be in a place, like when I go into a place, I'm like, okay, that guy looks like he has a gun. This guy looks like fucking trouble. This guy, what are these guys doing? And I'm looking at the entrance. I'm looking at, okay, this and that. I don't really like this place stuff. The energy.
Matches next to a gasoline.
Yeah,
right?
The energy, right? And my girlfriend is just blindly like, oh, and I go, hey, we got to go. Why? This is because someone's going to
At some point.
Yeah. You know, and
Dude.
But again, because I live that lifestyle and it's hard for people like that to understand that being in a place where like, you know what, I just don't like the vibe here. Oh, everything's gonna be okay. No, it's not. It's not gonna be
100%.
okay. Well, there was just a shooting. There was a Thanksgiving shooting. 4 people died in a family gathering just over the weekend.
Jeez.
You know, like, and it's like nowadays these little well, man, look at this shooting the shooting that happened last month. You know, these East Lake kids or the shooting that happened over here where 2 kids were killed. You know.
Dude, you got to be able to read the room.
Yeah.
You have to be able and as much as like, yes, we can, I think there's like a good in everybody inherently.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, bro, there's some bad dudes out there, as you know. And like, one thing I really learned from the political to like personal or like a fight, bro, you don't engage, you remove yourself from the situation. Yeah. And like common sense has become like a rare commodity nowadays. Sure. And so me thinking that somebody will be a good person or be proactive on a discussion, bro, you can't know. You have to assume. You have to assume the worst sometimes, and remove yourself from situations, whether it's a discussion or a fight. Yeah. And being able to quickly identify that, I mean, dude, that's wisdom right there of being in that room and knowing how it goes. And when you try to force it, it usually doesn't work out, bro.
It never works out.
It sucks.
We're gonna jump into some political questions here. So
I'm not running for office now.
Not yet.
Yeah, maybe.
Why does it matter for men, especially men who are healing and growing? Why does it matter for someone to vote? Right? You hear that all the time. Like I hear a bunch of, my vote doesn't matter. I don't care. Why? You being on the inside, right? So most of us are looking at the system like this. Yeah. Right? You've seen it here. You've seen what voting can do, what voting can't do. You've seen it, right? Why is it important for men to vote?
I wouldn't say it's men. I think it's important for everybody to vote. I mean, quick historical thing. Like, people fought to be able to have the right to vote for years in this country.
Yeah, it's great.
So second, it is your fundamental like duty as like an American citizen. Like, you don't have to do much, man. Like, we're not communists. We're not doing any of this stuff, right? Like, there's a few things you got to do, and it's like everyone wants a village, but no one wants to be a villager. Has been like a common thing going around lately. Yeah, bro. You're an American citizen. Do your job. Like, go vote. Like, there's other countries that have like penalties and all this stuff, and like honestly, like I wouldn't mind like some sort of like consequence for like not voting, just to increase turnout.
Sure.
And third, like, bro, I think it is so funny when people go, oh no, especially business guys, but like, oh no, I'm not political, bro. I don't get involved, or like I don't keep up to that stuff. I just want to deal with it.
Yeah.
That is completely fine, and that is your American right to do that.
Sure.
But those guys, whether it's a council member, a water board guy, a governor, or a president, all those guys are making decisions that will impact your everyday life.
Yeah.
So for you to not want to take part of that, if you don't want to vote, that's fine. But don't be mad when the consequences of somebody that you might not like that is now in that office that has won. Don't be mad when they start doing things that you don't like because you didn't do the like fundamental thing in your job to like go vote and have your impact. And like other countries don't even have that, and it is like a blessing. Or like they're rigged or corrupt, and like man, you and I know we don't have to look that far to see where corruption can lie.
Of course, yeah.
And it baffles me. And like yes, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of people in the country, but you know, if that's the mentality, which is of most people, you know, things won't go their way.
Do you believe that is your reasoning or your thinking why people don't want to, just because they don't want to put the work in and just trying to see what their person believes, or like what do you think?
It's two things. Just political. I think political climate will turn a lot of people off. Like I think people will like lose hope and like see like, well, shit, what's the point? Like I don't. It's at the end of the day, this whole system's screwed. Blah blah blah. But then the second part is, I mean, also just like access to voting. You know, like you don't. You know, this is a stance of mine. Like I believe everyone should have an ID to go vote, bro. You can't buy a beer without like an ID. Like just like common things.
Yeah.
And like, you know, so you'll deal with elections that have that. Like at the end of the day, it's hard though too, right? People like don't have time to go vote or, but like that excuse has kind of been eliminated with mail-in voting now, which has become like a huge like thing.
Sure.
We talk about voter turnout all the time and like what promotes it, but like holidays and all these things, at the end of the day, people are checked out. People could care less. The most dangerous thing this country has, arguably, is the uninformed voter. And so it's easy to manipulate what these people will think or not think. And there's hundreds of millions of dollars are getting spent to either make sure you vote or make sure you don't vote. And people like might not know that.
I got this good one right here. So how can someone who's never been politically active start getting informed without getting overwhelmed or discouraged?
I'd say.
So let's say a guy, you know, one of my guys is the guys is listening. He's like, okay, I want to do more for my community, right? Mm-hmm. What's his first step? Like, where does he go? Like, how do they get more, right, without being overwhelmed, without being discouraged? What's the first place you would take somebody who comes to you? Vic, I want to do something for my community, maybe vote for the first time. What's the first step?
I think the one that actually has probably the most direct impact on you, and that's getting involved on local politics. That's how I started my career. You know, the average time for legislation, I think, for like a bill to pass is like between, I think it was like 14 and like 20 months or something. I don't know what the number is. That's just so they kind of even get on the bill and like maybe even get a vote, right? Like at the local level, bro, like those things are so immediate, and like those are things you'll see and feel every day. The pothole that's right there, the stop sign, or like the blind spot that no one's addressed and people keep getting hit every single day. Like I would highly encourage to get involved on your local politics, because I mean, at the end of the day, those are considered nonpartisan offices. Once you go to the state or federal level, when you vote, it says Demo, Republican, or like their party. Yeah. But if you notice, like at the local level, it never shows. Like when you vote for a mayor here, it'll only show their ballot title and their name, and that's it. It does not show their political affiliation. That's only state and federal. So the local, your mayors, your council members, your water board guys, all those guys, those are considered nonpartisan offices. Now, I will tell you firsthand, an election is far from anything of what's considered nonpartisan, but the office itself, like they're there. They have to work with everybody. Right. When I worked for Mayor Kevin Faulkner, man, like we were working with everybody in that office, because at the end of the day, like once you're there, once you get past the game of like the campaign and whatnot, like it's truly, how do we make San Diego? How do we make Chula Vista? How do we make these cities better? And you got to work with these guys. And the guys that don't get it, they're not going to probably get much legislation done. Yeah. But the guys that can reach across the table, and there's like a handful of really good political electeds that are currently in office that, man, like those are the best guys. One, they know what they're doing, but two, they'll sit down with like the opposition, no problem. And you would think that'd be more normal, but it's not.
Yeah, I thought that's
people are like, oh, we'll reach across, we're gonna work, and dude, that's like all BS. Like there's a handful of guys that actually do that. Really? And a lot of people that just like won't even want to engage on the fight. But the local level is the best one to get involved, because you'll truly be able to see direct impact from what you're recommending to a council member or whatever.
Like the pothole, let's start there.
The city's job is to maintain infrastructure, and that is like one of the main cities that there's one of the main duties they're supposed to do. And so every depending on where you live in the city, there's 18 cities in the county of San Diego. Or 19. Jesus. You can reach out. There's districts within like where you live, so you'll have either like an assigned council member, or your mayor. The bigger cities might be a little bit hard to get hold of your mayor, but those offices, like they have staff that are on payroll to literally address constituent responses. Really? Government is here to work for you, and it is your right to ask them for help on anything, really. Anything like at least just relevant within a municipal enforcement.
Okay, good. In your opinion, what does healthy leadership look like in a man? Because I'm sure you've seen the worst and the best in leaders. What does healthy leadership look like? Give me like the top 3 things that you admire in a healthy leader, what that looks like to you.
I admire leaders that aren't leading for what like the job or role like entails, like in terms of like the optics. I think a lot of times people want to be in like elected position roles or whatever the case is, or CEOs, or because of like the cred that you'll get and like the rep. And like honestly, I think I used to care about those things like early on in my career. Yeah. And dude, now honestly, like I could just genuinely
people trying to get
Titles.
a stepping stone to like get to the next big level.
Yeah, titles, like to be in charge,
Sure.
to be a leader of anything, right?
As opposed to a servant.
As opposed to a servant or a staff or employee or whatever the case is. Like, I think the best leaders are the guys that like don't care about like pretty much just all that BS of like what it entails of being that leader, right? Like, oh, you want to be the president of this or whatever, like that's great, but like for what? Like at the end of the day, like my thing is like for what? And so the best guys are the ones that work collaboratively, not as like they work as teammates, and this is something baseball taught me, but like you work as a teammate versus being a dictator. And I think there's a very distinct difference on what that is. And like, I'm all about collaboration, man. I don't care if like me here, you here, whatever. At the end of the day, yes, you have to have an executive, that someone that'll make a final call. But like, I think you should work with your teams on an equal basis. And like, hey, what do you believe? I think this, but like, do you have a counter input?
Yeah.
The best leaders are the ones that open feedback, open collaboration, have an open floor of discussion of just how they can lead. And I think a lot of people will miss that mark and just make it about them.
That's good. I like that.
I'd say that. And the other two would be, I think just the right motivation of like why they're doing what they do, and like the impact. My thing is like helping people on the biggest scale. I think that's maybe one of my better leadership qualities, just because like I'm trying to like do, at the end of the day, like everything I do has like some sort of real impact. And I wouldn't do it like, could I just be like some finance dude and just like go sit and just like wire numbers and whatever?
Yeah.
Like I would go insane like in a week. Like I have to feel like I'm like fulfilled. I think God put me on this earth to help people on the biggest scale he can find possible. And I don't know I currently don't know what that final role is. Is it elected office? Is it this?
You
Like,
believe that's your
that's
purpose.
my MO. You ask me what I'm here for, why this God has kept me on this earth.
Yeah.
Is to do something that will have serious impact
love that.
for years and for millions of people, I believe.
You're talking about legacy then, right?
Legacy.
So what legacy matters more than money, power, or titles, especially for a man who wants to leave his life better than he found it?
So the question is, one more time?
What legacy matters more than money, power, or titles, especially for a man who wants to leave his life better than he found it? Like, what's the legacy that a man should want to live or leave behind? Because we talked about we
In general or my personal one?
Let's do both. Let's do what for you. I can kind of allude to it, but what should a man be trying to leave behind? You know, we kind of talked about those guys that are looking for titles. Like that's not, but what should a man be trying to leave behind?
I think that they made, whether it's one person or millions, that they were actively like making someone's life better.
That's good.
In some sense. Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, whatever the case is, like everybody does have a different way that they serve that role.
Sure.
But if I think you can, there's a bunch of things you can do on this earth, but like at the end of the day, like, when you go under the ground, like there's only things that really matter, like is like your family and the relationships that you had, but also relationships with other people. It's like when I think about how I will be remembered, it's like, I know personally what the way I want to be remembered in my family legacy is I want to be remembered as Victor that he did something. Like he found a way to help people on this very massive platform and change millions of lives for the better.
Yeah.
I don't know what that final like detail will be, right? But knowing that I left something behind better than what it was before, like you said, is very huge to me. And that is something that I must have come from God. Like I don't know where it came from, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, it's not even a decision anymore. Like it's what I feel is called on this earth to do. And I've happily accepted like that burden, and it's, that's maybe the tough part of like this whole deal. But I honestly do I wouldn't want to have it any other way.
As you're talking, I often, I don't know if this is weird or not, but I often like think about what people are going to say at my funeral,
100%.
And, I remember going to a funeral one time, and there's like maybe 10 or 15 guys that went up and spoke, and they had 10 or 15 perspectives of this guy. And I thought it was just horrible that, one guy went up there and talked about how like they recently stole cars, and then another person like, yeah, we were in church together. It was like, what the fuck? Like, it was weird, right? And I thought to myself, oh, this guy had to be different for different groups of people or whatever. Like that's what I took from it.
Yeah.
And regardless of who sees me or who knows me, in my mind, for me, like there's a I think it's in the book of Acts in the Bible where it says, and when David was done serving his generation, he fell asleep, right? Serving his generation. You're talking about service. Like, I want to be able to do what God purposed me to do on this earth, serve my generation, and then be done with it, right? Like, that's the ultimate legacy, is like, I did what God wanted me to do. And that's what I hear you saying. Like, you want, and you don't really know what that is yet. You just like, you're on your way to do it, right? Yeah. I got some questions we're going to rapidly fire through.
Yeah.
So we're going to give the men out there tools they can take home today, right? Number one, if a man wants to grow mentally, what's the first step? If a man wants to grow mentally, what's the first step?
Go to therapy.
Go to therapy. That's awesome. That's such, especially in Latino communities, like, oh, we're not going to go to therapy. We don't need it.
Bro, I'm pretty sure I didn't tell my parents for like a little bit. I was like,
yeah, like, that's okay.
No, they're good supporters of it. But it was something new, like, as a man.
That's great. That's great to hear. If a man wants to grow mentally,
take care of your mind, take care of your body. If you can't take care of those things, like, don't expect everything else to like go smoothly either, you know?
Yeah. If a man wants to heal emotionally, where should he begin?
Asking himself tough questions, and going to church and being willing to accept the past, be hopeful for the future, and be willing to forgive themselves.
Yeah, that's a
it's a very hard one. I personally struggled on forgiveness, and you might not ever kind of feel that way, but I think it's easy to, as men, I think it's easy for us to take the blame, take the hurdle, to be the husband, the father, and all these things. And the household running around you is just very common. And it's like, even when things don't go south, like, giving yourself like a little bit of grace. Don't let that be an excuse, but like, you know, shit happens, bro. Not everything's smooth.
I wish I would have learned about grace. You know, the title of the podcast is Grappling with Grace. I didn't learn about that till a year ago. You know, that's
about the
like,
same.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, and sometimes, again, in the Latino community, we're not supposed to give ourselves grace, right? It's your deal with it. Put it away, get back to work. And I understand, you know, if a man wants to strengthen physically, what discipline has been most life-changing for you? So
physically, I mean, just the gym and fighting. And fighting got me in the best shape, probably. I just got tired of being hurt all the time. But I mean, just it's easy, man. Just go hit the gym. I mean, it's an hour of your day max, hour and a half. Like, you have to prioritize that like any other meeting that you would too. And sometimes you can't do it, but like, overall, like, your health, you want to live long, like, I mean, you got to do it. But fighting, baseball, surfing, you name it, I'll do it. But gym has been my biggest thing lately. Okay.
And if a man wants to grow spiritually, like, what anchor practice do you recommend? So we talked about going to faith, but like, what keeps you anchored in your faith spiritually? Are you reading? Are you praying? Like, what keeps you grounded in your faith?
What keeps me grounded is my interior, like, my ulterior motive of like why I'm on this earth, and like, to serve out like the role that I think I'm being given. But like, the other side of it too is I read from I follow like a lot of like world leaders on like what they're doing and their processes, and how even from something stupid as like how they start their day. There's like a lot of there's a lot of knowledge and information out there, and like, seeing what's happening in the world too is very important to kind of like, one, understand what's happening, but two, also you get like ideas, and like it can translate to like so many other things. But I'd say I think those would be kind of the main contributors on that.
Okay. And then I want you to look right into that one. You're going to be talking, Victor, for the man listening right now who feels lost, discouraged, broken, or unsure of who he's becoming, what would you say to him?
Keep swinging. Every day is a fight. And you can't go, this is good, my friend Loba Costa, the boxer, you can't go, even when shit gets tough, like, you can't go lower than the ground. So even if you do hit the rock bottom, like, you can only go up from there at a certain point. The minute you lose is when you stop trying. And have faith in God, be a good person, help other people, and find a way to make someone else's life better. And no matter how good or bad things get, the sun will keep rising every single day. And the minute you stop fighting is the day you lose. That's what I'd say.
That was great, Victor. We had a great time, man. I learned so much about you.
Overdue, man.
Overdue. This has been your Grappling with Grace. I believe we are at episode 4. This season, we plan on having 8 episodes. And I hope you gained a lot of wisdom and knowledge from this episode. We'll see you soon, family.